4. Nutrition in living organisms. Let's recall. 1. What is malnutrition? Malnutrition is the condition that develops when the body does not get the right amount of the vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients it needs to maintain a healthy body. 2. Which are the ways to prevent malnutrition? The ways to prevent malnutrition is taking a balanced diet which includes all the essential nutrients required for the healthy growth of the body. Nutrients. Some life processes go on continuously in living organisms. Substances which are digested and assimilated for obtaining energy and for the growth and health of our body are called foodstuffs. We get several types of nutrients from foodstuffs. Nutrients can be classified into two types, namely macronutrients and micronutrients. Nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are required in large quantity. These are macronutrients. Minerals and vitamins are required in very small quantity. They are called micronutrients. Nutrition. The process of taking in and using food, which takes place in living organisms, is called nutrition. Need for nutrition. 1. To supply the energy required for doing work. 2. Growth and development of the body. 3. To replace the damaged cells and repair tissues. 4. To fight diseases. Autotrophic nutrition. Some organisms can produce their own food and thus nourish themselves. This is called autotrophic nutrition. Heterotrophic nutrition. Some organisms depend on other organisms, plants, or animals for their food. This is called heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic plants. How do plants produce their own food? Plants also need food for their growth. They can produce their own food. With the help of sunlight and chlorophyll, plants make their food in their leaves using water and nutrients from the soil and carbon dioxide from the air. This process is called as photosynthesis. 6 CO2, that is carbon dioxide, plus 6 H2O, that is water, in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll gives C6H12O6, that is glucose, food, plus 6O2, that is oxygen. Plants convert light energy into chemical energy and store it in the form of food. Water, minerals, and salts are absorbed by roots from the soil. The stem transports them up to the leaves. The leaves have microscopic openings called stomata through which they take in the carbon dioxide from the air. The chloroplasts present in the leaves contain chlorophyll, which absorbs sunlight, helping to convert carbon dioxide and water into food. Oxygen is given out in this process. Besides leaves, photosynthesis takes place in some other parts like green stems too, as they contain chlorophyll. Transport system in plants. Take a pumpkin stem having 2 to 3 leaves. Cut it under water with a sharp blade. Take some water in a conical flask and add 7 to 8 drops of ink to it. Put the pumpkin stem vertically in that flask. Observe the changes that take place in it and discuss them in the classroom. The transport system of plants consists of the xylem and the phloem. The xylem transports minerals and water from the root to all aerial parts of the plant. The phloem transports the food, that is glucose, etc., from the leaves to other parts of the plant where it is either consumed or stored. Though the plants have a transport system, they do not have a separate digestive or excretory system. Find out. How does photosynthesis occur in dark red or purple-colored leaves? The dark red or purple color of the leaves does not indicate that they do not contain green pigment, that is chlorophyll, at all. The chlorophyll needed for photosynthesis is hiding within the leaf color, whether the leaf is purple, yellow, or red. And these non-green plants undergo photosynthesis with this chlorophyll pigment only. Find out. What is chemosynthesis? Which plants produce their food by chemosynthesis? The synthesis of organic compounds by bacteria or other living organisms using energy derived from reactions involving inorganic chemicals, typically in the absence of sunlight, is called chemosynthesis. Let's recall. Which are the different substances excreted by plants? Why? Gums, oils, latex, raisins, etc. are the different substances excreted by plants. Plants produce carbohydrates by the process of photosynthesis. Carbohydrates are made from carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Proteins are made from carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. How do plants obtain the nitrogen necessary for the synthesis of proteins? Air contains gaseous nitrogen. However, plants cannot utilize gaseous nitrogen. It needs to be fixed, that is, converted into compounds. Fixation of nitrogen occurs by biological and atmospheric methods. Biological fixation of nitrogen. Two different types of microorganisms can bring about biological nitrogen fixation. Root nodules of leguminous plants contain the rhizobium microorganisms. These microorganisms absorb atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into its nitrate, a compound. Microorganisms like azobacter are present in soil. They also convert atmospheric nitrogen into nitrates. Do you know atmospheric fixation of nitrogen? Lightning, that is thunderbolts, occur in the rainy season. This causes atmospheric nitrogen and oxygen to react with each other to form nitric oxide, that is NO, which is again oxidized to form nitrogen dioxide, that is NO2. The nitrogen dioxide dissolves in rainwater and is converted into nitric acid, HNO3, which gets added to the soil along with the rainwater. Plants use this nitrogen for their growth. etc. Due to the absence of chlorophyll, the cuscuta is completely dependent on the host plant. Hence, it is said to be a completely parasitic plant. You must have also noticed loranthus that grows on trees. Use your brain power. 1. Which part of the loranthus plant carries out photosynthesis? The green leaves of loranthus plant carries out photosynthesis. 2. From where do they obtain minerals and water? Loranthus plant obtains minerals and water from the plant on which it grows. 3. Why is loranthus known as a partially parasitic plant? Loranthus plant prepares its own food by photosynthesis, but it also depends on its host plants for obtaining minerals and water. Hence, loranthus is known as a partially parasitic plant. Insectivorous plants. We have seen how some plants feed upon insects to obtain nutrients. These insectivorous plants generally grow in soil or water deficient in nitrogen compounds. The plant body of the Drosera burmani has a flower-like appearance. It grows close to the ground. Its leaves are attractively pink or red in color with hairs at the margin. Droplets of a sticky substance found at the tips of the hairs attract insects. The scientist Johannes Burman identified this plant in Sri Lanka in 1737. Hence, the plant is named after him. Use your brain power. Why does the pitcher plant feed on insects even though it produces food by photosynthesis? Pitcher plant contains chlorophyll, hence it is capable of preparing its own food like other green plants. But the pitcher plant eats insects because it grows in areas where the soil does not contain enough nitrogen mineral. Hence, just to fulfill its nitrogen requirement, it traps insects and utilizes the proteins from it. Saprophytic plants. Plants which obtain the food from dead and decaying bodies of other organisms are called saprophytic plants. Various types of fungi, like mushrooms and yeast, are saprophytes. Fungi secrete digestive enzymes on the dead remains to digest or break down the carbon compounds they contain. The resulting solution is absorbed to obtain nutrients. Always remember, food gets spoiled due to some fungi. Some fungi cause diseases or illness, while some fungi have medicinal properties. Yeast and some mushrooms are useful. Yeast is used in fermentation processes and for making bread. Mushrooms are a rich source of iron and vitamins. Role of nutrients and effects of their deficiency on plants. This table shows nutrients, their functions, and effects of their deficiency. Nitrogen is an important component of proteins, chlorophyll, and cytoplasm. Its deficiency causes retarded or stunted growth, yellowing of leaves. Phosphorus helps in conversion of light energy into chemical energy. Its deficiency causes early leaf fall, late flowering, slow growth of roots. Potassium is necessary for metabolic activities. Its deficiency causes weak stem, wilting of leaves, failure to produce carbohydrates. Magnesium is important in production of chlorophyll. Its deficiency causes slow or retarded growth, yellowing of leaves. Iron is used in production of chlorophyll. Its deficiency causes yellowing of leaves. Manganese is useful in production of main plant hormones. Its deficiency causes retarded growth and spotted leaves. Zinc is useful in production of hormones and their intermediates. Its deficiency causes retarded growth and yellowing of leaves. Observe the plants around you and diagnose the nutrient deficiency, if any. Nutrition in animals. This concept refers to the body's need for nutrients, mode of ingesting food, and its use in the body. Let's recall. Which are the various nutrients in food? For what purpose are the nutrients used? Answer: carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fats, minerals, and water are the various nutrients in food. These nutrients are required for normal body growth and to satisfy the energy requirement. Nutrients necessary for various activities of the body are obtained from food. They are supplied to various parts of body through blood. The food that we consume does not mix with blood as it is. It needs to convert into soluble forms that can easily mix in blood. Nutrition in animals involves various steps from ingestion to egestion. Steps in nutrition. 1. Ingestion, which means food is taken into the body. 2. Digestion, means conversion of food into simple soluble forms. 3. Absorption, transfer of soluble food to the blood. 4. Assimilation, utilization of absorbed food by cells and tissues for energy production, growth, and repair. And finally, 5. Egestion, removal of waste products and undigested food from body. Observe the animals around you and complete the following table. 1. Cow eats grass. Method of ingestion is chewing. 2. Frog. Its food is insects. Method of ingestion is gulping. You must have observed that there are different methods of ingestion of food in different animals, like swallowing, chewing, sucking, scraping, gnawing, etc. Scraping means to remove upper layer and eating. Gnawing means eating by making holes into food. Types of nutrition in animals. A. Holozoic nutrition. How does ingestion occur in unicellular animals like amoeba? Amoeba does not have organs like hands and mouth. It is a unicellular animal. It can take in food through any part of the surface of its unicellular body. It surrounds the food particle from all sides to take it into the cell. After that, it digests the food with the help of different enzymes. Undigested food is left behind as the amoeba moves further with the help of pseudopodia. Pseudopodia means paramecium, etc., all the steps of nutrition occur within the unicellular body. Insects have mouth parts for ingestion of food. For example, insects like the cockroach and grasshopper, which nibble, have jaw-like mouth parts. Butterflies suck food with a tube-like proboscis. Proboscis means long, tubular mouth part adapted to suck nectar. Mosquitoes and bedbugs use a needle-like mouth part to pierce and a tube-like mouth part to suck blood or other fluids. According to the type of food, animals can be classified as 1. Herbivores. Herbivores use plants directly as their food. Examples are grazing animals, granivores, that is seed eaters, frugivores, that is fruit eaters, etc. 2. Carnivores. Animals that depend on other animals for their food are carnivores. Carnivores are indirectly dependent on plants for food. Examples are animals that feed on herbivores, that is, predators. Animals that feed on insects, that is, insectivores. 3. Omnivores. Animals that obtain their food from both plants and animals are called omnivores. Examples are monkey, chimpanzee, human, etc. Some of the organisms around us perform the function of cleaning and conserving the environment by the very act of feeding themselves. They are called scavengers and decomposers. 4. Scavengers obtain their food from dead bodies of animals. For example, vulture, crow, hyena, etc. 5. Decomposers. Decomposers are some microbes which obtain their food by decomposing the dead bodies of organisms or other materials. The anteater is found in Central and South America. The udmanger is an ant-eating animal found in India. Obtain its pictures from the internet. Observe and discuss. How will you classify the following animals according to their food type? Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and scavengers. B. Saprozoic nutrition. Some insects, unicellular animals, etc. obtain the nutrients by absorbing the liquid organic material from the dead bodies of other animals or from the environment. This is saprozoic nutrition. Example, houseflies, ants, spiders, etc. C. Parasitic nutrition. 1. Have you seen small animals on the bodies of animals like dogs and buffaloes? Which are those small animals? 2. From where do these little animals obtain their food? 3. From where do the worms in the intestine obtain their food? Some animals depend upon other animals for food. They can obtain the food only from animals on whom they are dependent. This is called as parasitic nutrition. Some animals live on the body surface of other animals and obtain their food by sucking their blood. This is called ectoparasitic nutrition, and such animals are called ectoparasites. For example, louse, bedbug, tick, etc. Animals like tapeworm and roundworms live inside the body of other animals and obtain their food. This is endoparasitic nutrition, and these animals are known as endoparasites.